And finally, there are the secondary religious writings of various faith traditions, into which many adherents are systematically indoctrinated, making such writings the de facto lens through which to view and consider the scriptures. So let's wrap up with a quick look at just two examples of this, starting with the Talmud. Now, ordinarily, Christians wouldn't consider the Talmud as a secondary source for Bible study, and frankly, neither do I. But in Messianic Judaism and Jewish roots circles, the teachings and traditions of Rabbinic Judaism, which all stem from the Talmud, are often part and parcel of Messianic theology and practice. So it's worth taking a peek at the source material. So take, for example, the Talmud's attitude toward Torah study, which many believers over the last couple of decades especially have started to prioritize over the rest of the Bible. Now, you know I love the scriptures, and that obviously includes the Torah. But this is what the Babylonian Talmud says according to the tractate Megillah 16b, 18 through 20, in the William Davidson Talmud. Rav Yosef said, "Studying Torah is greater than saving lives." Rav Shmuel bar Marta said, "Studying Torah is greater and more important than building the temple." Rav Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marta said, "Studying Torah is greater and more important than honoring one's father and mother." So the doctrine of Torah study in Judaism says that Torah study is the greatest thing you can do, greater than saving lives, greater than building the temple, and even greater than keeping the commands of the very Torah that you're supposed to be studying. Namely, the fifth commandment to honor your father and mother, Exodus 20:12 and Deuteronomy 5:16. And this, of course, flies in the face of scriptures such as Yaakov 1:23 through 24. If anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, this one has been likened to a man viewing his natural face in a mirror, for he viewed himself and went away and immediately forgot what kind of man he was. And also the word of the Master Yeshua in Matthew chapter 15, verses 4 through 6. For God said, "Honor your father and mother." But you say, "Whoever says to his father or mother, an offering is being made to God with whatever good thing you would have otherwise benefited from me, he will not need to honor his father." And in so teaching, you set aside the word of God because of your tradition. So clearly, this Talmudic doctrine concerning Torah study is flat out wrong. In no way does the Talmud here legitimately inform our attitude and practice toward the Torah, nor does it help us to better understand the scriptures. And finally, let's look at the Westminster Catechism, which has been around since the mid-1600s and has had widespread influence across Protestant Christian denominations, whether you realize it or not. We just looked at Judaism's view of the fifth commandment. Well, this is what the Westminster Catechism says about the fourth. Question 116 of the Catechism asks, "What is required in the fourth commandment?" And it answers, "The fourth commandment requireth of all men the sanctifying or keeping holy to God such set times as he hath appointed in his word, expressly one whole day in 7, which was the 7th, from the beginning of the world to the resurrection of Christ, and the first day of the week ever since, and so to continue to the end of the world, which is the Christian Sabbath, and in the New Testament called the Lord's Day." And of course, all the proof texting in the world can't demonstrate that from the moment Yeshua was resurrected, or at any other time, that the Sabbath, the Shabbat, was ever moved from Saturday to Sunday. Obviously, I'll be doing a teaching on this at some point, but the entire idea is made up out of whole cloth. It started with the Catholic Church, was overtly perpetuated among Protestants, and still holds to this day. There's not a shred of scriptural evidence that supports Christianity's doctrine of the first day Christian Sabbath. But again, my point here isn't to refute that belief, but only to demonstrate that even long-held Christian doctrine can be a faulty secondary source for understanding the Bible.